Alright, let's go back for a minute. Most of you probably remember the drama between Mel B and Eddie Murphy years ago when they got into a serious fight over whether he was the father of her child, Angel. Eddie straight up denied that he was the dad, and it became a huge deal. At the time, the way he spoke about the situation on national television shocked a lot of people, including Mel B herself. You could actually see the pain on her face anytime someone brought it up. The words he used were harsh, no matter what was going on behind the scenes. Now, Mel B has since said that both of them made mistakes, but what hurt the most was how Eddie handled it publicly. She said they were in love and even planned to have that baby together. So when he acted like the pregnancy was unexpected and questioned if the child was even his, she was completely blindsided. It took Eddie more than 10 years to finally acknowledge Angel as his child. By the time he started trying to be involved, it felt like he was trying to fix things that had already gone too far. But now, Angel just turned 18, and instead of things getting better, it sounds like the relationship between Eddie and Angel has gotten even worse. Word is, Eddie has struggled to fully accept Angel, especially after Angel reportedly decided to transition. No one expected this situation to take such a turn in 2025, but honestly, knowing how Eddie's handled things in the past, it kind of tracks. Let's rewind a bit to the beginning of Mel and Eddie's relationship. Not many people knew they were even dating until Mel got pregnant. Once the news broke, Eddie distanced himself fast. He started acting cold and made it clear he didn't want to be part of the situation. When Mel filed the paternity suit, Eddie's team released a public statement trying to minimize everything. They claimed the relationship was brief, unimportant, and that Eddie had no intentions of building a life with Mel. They also said he was covering the...
You visibly recoiled when you heard Eddie Murphy again say those words in that interview, which were very hurtful, whatever the circumstances.
Well, of course, it's not a nice thing to hear. We were both to blame. I wouldn't have said that publicly, and he apologizes to this day about that, because that baby was planned. We planned that baby together, and we were madly in love, and it just went wrong.
Some folks accused Mel of trying to trap Eddie with a baby just to get child support. But that doesn't really make sense if you know who Mel B is. She wasn't some random person chasing fame. She was part of the Spice Girls, one of the most successful girl groups in history. Money was not her problem. According to Mel, she and Eddie hit it off immediately when they met in 2006. She described it like lightning striking. In her memoir, Brutally Honest, she said it felt like she had known him her entire life. Their connection was deep, fast, and passionate. They were so into each other that they even got matching tattoos of their autographs near their thighs. That's not something you do with someone you're just casually seeing. Mel claimed Eddie was the one who brought up the idea of having a baby. She said he made her want to be a mom again. And honestly, that's believable. Eddie already had 7 kids at the time, so clearly having children wasn't new for him. So when she found out she was pregnant, Eddie was the first person she told. She said they laughed and cried together, truly happy about it, but things changed quickly. Once Mel was expecting, Eddie became overly controlling. He didn't want her to leave the house, worried something might happen to the baby. He had a strong obsession with security, and what started off feeling like love began to feel like a trap. Mel said it felt like being stuck in a cage with Eddie holding the key. Even with the change in his behavior, she hoped it was just a phase, that maybe he was just being protective during the pregnancy. But she had no idea just how badly things would go downhill. What shocked her the most were the public comments Eddie made. During a press interview, when asked if he was excited about the baby, Eddie didn't say yes. He didn't smile or even hint at being happy. Instead, he said, "I don't know whose baby that is until it comes out and gets a blood test." He even told the reporter, "You shouldn't jump to conclusion."
I've never actually had a one-night stand. I haven't believed that or not. I have
Well,
not.
there we go. And your dad, he asked your dad for your hand in marriage?
Yeah, it was a very loving, safe, just loving relationship.
That comment hit hard. People were stunned. Just weeks earlier, everyone thought they were a happy couple. But suddenly, Eddie was denying everything, even the baby he supposedly wanted. Fans were disappointed, and Mel was devastated. She packed her things, moved out of his house, and publicly defended herself. She stood firm, saying the child was absolutely his and that he knew it 2 years past. The DNA test confirmed what Mel had said all along. Eddie was the father. He eventually acknowledged Angel as his daughter, and for a while it looked like he was trying to do better. But that didn't last. Now that Angel is legally an adult and reportedly transitioning, things seem to have gone cold between them again. Sources say Eddie's been distant and hasn't shown much support, which has reopened old wounds and raised new questions. Eddie Murphy has always been a complex person, funny, charming, incredibly talented, but when it comes to his personal relationships, especially with his kids, the record has been mixed at best. He may be a superstar, but that doesn't excuse how things have unfolded between him and Mel B. Or how things are going now with Angel. It's a messy story, full of highs and heartbreak. And while Mel B has moved forward with her life, raising her children and staying strong, the damage from those early years never really went away, especially for Angel, who deserved love, support, and a father who would show up without conditions. 4 months after the drama started, on Eddie Murphy's birthday of all days, Mel B gave birth to Angel Murphy Brown. But instead of it being a joyful time, things quickly took a legal turn. Mel filed a paternity lawsuit against Eddie. Now let's be real, once lawyers get involved over a child, especially this early on, it's usually a wrap for any chance of co-parenting peacefully. Imagine being born into the world knowing your own father publicly questioned whether you were even his and fought your MO.
Of not having the baby.
Absolutely not. This is a planned baby. This is something that we both sat down. Yeah, we both sat down and we discussed it. Listen, I have an 8-year-old. I'm not about to just have a baby by accident. I'm a very responsible parent. We both sat down and planned it, and yeah.
But you didn't plan to be married.
Yeah, we didn't make set in stone plans to be married, but that we definitely spoke about it. And that was, one of the things.
Were you in love with him?
Yeah. Why would you have a baby with somebody if you're not in love with them?
This hit people the wrong way, especially when they remembered Eddie's scandal back in 1997. If you recall, Eddie was pulled over in Los Angeles with a trans woman named Shalimar in his car. At the time, he said he was just giving her a ride. But the media went wild, and the headlines followed him for years. Now, people are calling out the irony. How could someone who had a past incident involving a trans woman be so slow to support his own child who was going through a gender transition? It's something Angel reportedly struggled with deeply, trying to understand how her father could accept someone publicly when it embarrassed him, but not accept his own child privately when she needed him the most. As more people hear about what happened, Eddie is catching backlash for not being present in Angel's life, even when nothing was stopping him. People are also disappointed that he let his personal biases get in the way of being there for his child, especially during such a big and emotional life change. Many feel like Eddie missed a huge opportunity to make things right and show real growth as a father. Some fans are furious. They're saying things like, "I can't forgive Eddie for denying that child, and how do you end up with a trans son and still act cold after what you've been through?" Others just shake their heads, calling it a shame that someone with so many kids could choose to ignore the one who needed him the most. So now the